Hey, Barb. All right, we are February 10th, 2022, 7 p.m., Village of Minerva Park Council meeting. And we are going to start with roll call. All right, Councilperson Koss.
Present.
Councilperson Shrestha.
Present.
Councilperson Cameron.
Present.
Council President Wolf.
Here.
Councilperson Berger.
Here.
Councilperson McNamara.
Present.
All right, and the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. And let's go to January 27th, council meeting minutes.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, who got the second on that one?
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, we're good. All right,
Hold on, I have a
Go for it.
procedural question, because it looks like we have an intention to read Resolution 2022-03, but that's not on the packet, or at least not the one that I got last.
It is 05. 03 was already taken, so the
Okay.
number.
Oh, it's 05, but in any case, the last packet I got, it wasn't in that. Is it in the agenda that's at the door? Okay, that's fine then. I just didn't know if we had to make a motion to amend the agenda to include it.
You do.
But it's on the one at the
Oh,
door.
did you, so you re-printed them out before, after the, okay, never mind.
The agenda states 22-05.
Got it.
Well, the last packet I got doesn't have it at all.
Yeah, it's
That's,
been updated.
Okay.
yeah, I don't think I ever got that last update. It's- Okay, as long as it's there, then we're good.
all right, let's go to the village official reports. Let's start with Chief Mantel.
Did everyone get a copy of my report?
Yes.
It's a little concerning because usually it's the first Monday and I prepare that report, but the first Monday was like this week and I was thrown off. So I'm glad you all got it. Other than what was in the report, I don't have anything to add at this time.
Does anybody have any questions for Chief?
I have one very brief one. It sees that the traffic stops are up 22, citations issued up only 1, so that's, I'm assuming a lot of warnings.
Yes.
Awesome. Always great to see the humaneness of a warning instead of coming straight to a ticket.
Well, and in all fairness, that's what the residents have been asking for, was that those 6-7 mile per hour over be stopped, and we usually give those warnings.
Yeah, I actually had a question on the citation front. The people who parked on the streets while we were on a level 2 snow emergency, did we ticket those people?
So there's some debate over what constitutes a snow emergency. To my knowledge, the village has only issued that one parking snow emergency, and that was back in like 2017. Lucy was here and we went around and cited all those vehicles, but that was issued by the village. So we don't know if the level 2 snow emergency issued by the county constitutes a snow emergency in the village. So we're trying to figure out what that looks like, and if there has to be an additional snow emergency by ordinance in the Minerva codified ordinances that says the mayor shall issue.
Right. So it sounds like a clarification in our code indicating, instead of just level 2 snow emergency, but level 2 snow emergency issued by, county or municipal agency.
Yeah, or if that happens, then we need to have some kind of a mechanism in place, which then has the village follow suit by issuing its own
Yeah.
snow
One of
emergency,
those.
thereby then putting the parking ban into effect and allowing the police to then take action.
Yeah.
So that's where that's at. Hopefully we can get that figured out before the next snow emergency.
So, Chief Duff, I have a theoretical question for you. So theoretically, if we were rewriting our code, what would your recommendation be for what would be easiest and most enforceable for the officers and safest for our village?
So the code is fine as it is. It's a matter of the question is, does a countywide snow emergency equivocate to a village snow emergency? And that's where the question lies. And if Jesse was here, he could probably go, but we basically, honestly, I think it just comes down to if we get to that point where there's a level 2 or level 3, do we want to have the mayor invoke a village snow emergency? And that's the only thing that we're really missing in this equation, and probably the easiest fix.
Sure.
The enforcing of it is not an issue, it's just a matter of when does that take effect?
Thank you.
Okay. I am going to go to Leah for fiscal officer. Do you have anything to report?
Just one thing, we did receive the certificate from the county engineer for the collections for 2021, that's what we were waiting on. So we did receive that and it has been posted, so Kim is currently working on closing out December and the year. And that's all I have.
Okay, I'm going to skip the engineer's report only because I don't have it printed in front of me. So as soon as I get that, I'll read that here in a couple seconds. And then Jesse is actually out ill, so let's go straight to the village planner, Eric Fisher.
Thank you, Mayor. This evening, beyond what we discussed on Saturday, except that the middle school's moving along, issued them their student certificate and their water and sewer permits so they can obtain their services from Columbus and start that process. And they will be getting, we've got all the different fees calculated. We'll be sending them an invoice Friday for them to pay. So there'll be some large checks that will be coming to the village to put into the various funds. Yeah, that's all I have.
Okay, did everybody get to see John's report?
Yep.
Does anybody have any questions, anything like that? If so, what we can do is just get those emailed over to John if anybody does have any questions or concerns. He is going to be on vacation here shortly, so again, if anybody has any problems, questions, concerns, you can reach out to myself and or Eric while he's gone. So that's just kind of an FYI for you guys in case you have any questions for the week that he's gone. Planning and zoning, let's go over to Brian, even though we haven't.
Have we had a meeting since
No.
I last reported?
The one got canceled. We just had our organizational meeting.
All right, yeah, then at this time, we have nothing to report. When is the next one?
Next
Wednesday.
Next Wednesday? We'll have a planning and zoning meeting next Wednesday.
We do have a person, and I'm gonna ask this real quick, and Eric, I don't know if you have this off the top of your head. I know we received a person that is planning on stepping down. I don't know if that is sufficient for a stepping down letter, or should I get something else? Because I do have the next person I would like to recommend for planning and zoning non-voting. And it would be nice if we could do it right now, or at some point during this but if not, we'll wait until the next meeting. It's not
Yeah,
earth-shattering.
I'd have to look at her email. I'm not sure.
Perfect.
I think she needs to give a definitive.
I think so
am
too.
stepping down
Okay.
on this date is what.
I would totally agree. I didn't think it was good enough for that. So we do have one person that is planning on stepping down, and we do already have somebody that really wants to fill the role that has been coming to planning and zoning meetings. So that is who I plan on appointing because it's somebody that's been active. So we'll talk about that next week. And then let's move to MPCA. Nikki.
So they are currently working on revamping their website. This will allow them to handle a lot more things, that they want to. Carriage rides, the carriage rides were done. Budget was in the green for them. I don't know if I should add that in the report, but doing good. They're trying to add a lot of additional events to bring up memberships. They're thinking about adding a seniors only event to kind of cater to all of their seniors. Some of the things that came up was, you know, a camp out, a bourbon beer wine crawl, movie nights. They do have the projector. So, kind of like what you're talking about at the pool, but now maybe out like the basketball courts, having a teen movie night, and also maybe starting a game night. I know that there's a resident that hosts like online game nights, so, yeah, they got a lot in the works. Pride is another thing that they have met multiple times on. I've been on their meetings, and they got a lot of things in the works, so it looks like a busy year for NPCA.
Awesome. All right. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, I'm gonna go through Mike Flickinger's report real quick. Task order number 14 is Westerville City School District Minerva Park School Review Plan. They are waiting for the school district to submit the proposed widening plan to Farview. I think you guys have heard me say that 3 months at least in a row. So as soon as they get that, they will review that. So hopefully we'll hear something on that soon. Task order number 18 is the 2021 Storm Sewer Improvement Project, and I usually say this. This is also known as the East Shore Court Project in the past. They prepared and distributed notice to proceed to allow DJX Construction to schedule with their clearing contractor. They prepared and distributed change order number 1, which extended the contract completion date based on DJX's proposed mobilization of March 15th. Clearing work is scheduled for the week of February 14th. So anybody that is actually watching this, just know that there's going to be people in your backyards. Letters have been mailed. The notice has been posted online, and we have also been proactive in sending out text blasts because we know that the letters may never get to you. So that is going to be scheduled for the week of February 14th, which is next week, weather permitting. DJX's surveyors should be on site this week. Those letters have also been sent out, and I believe that was the text blast that was sent out as well. So they are there. They were there today. We did have a phone call about it. So all of this work is moving right along, trying to just be proactive for the March 15th main date for the project to start. So the letters, we have sent out both the surveyor letter and the clearing letters. So, and then they reviewed DJX's pipe and other material submittals. Then there's the 2022 Storm Sewer Improvement Project. They are still coordinating with Columbus to determine the necessary sewer size and the extent of replacement for the sewer along the northern village boundary behind Jordan Road. That is a work in progress. Myself and Eric and Jesse will be working on getting a meeting with one of the other property owners so we can see what we can get done on that to try to coordinate with this project. So there's a lot going on with the 2022 Storm Sewer Improvement Project as well. So that is Mike Flickinger's report. Any questions about any of those? Great, because I probably can't answer them. Okay, let's move on.
Progress on all fronts. That's
Yes.
awesome.
Yes.
Definitely there's
Okay, so next we have, let's start with Nikki, communications.
Okay, so during our meeting on the 3rd, we talked about a couple things. First, we were revisiting, you know, an informal coffee with council, kind of seeing what that looked like maybe every 90 days. We're kind of still in the wraps of, is all council going to be mandatory, just what that looks like. We did talk about the subcommittee reports that we would be submitting them to Barb, and those would be put on the website as long, you know, as well with the agenda and stuff like that. I did speak about the software for the email sign up. I have spoken with Barb, and we got them to grant us a 30-day trial. However, I do want to do the training. If we're going to do the trial, I want to know exactly all the bells and whistles. I want to kind of take advantage of that 30 days. So we're going to set that up, and I'm going to look into that training ASAP. Also, I brought up the survey from 2018, I think, and I am in the process of meeting with Eric to kind of discuss that more. Last thing was the virtual green card, and I do want to touch on that briefly. Since a couple people got misunderstood and one to the point of accusations. You know, poor communication has been exhibited multiple times, not only with other council people, but our residents personally. You know, in the survey that I was just talking about, 239 residents responded 68 of those responded that they said the village operations and communications were the thing that they liked least about Minerva Park. I hope with this new council, it brings new perspectives. It's always great, new chances to grow as a whole, as a community, as a village. You know, we're not always gonna agree. If we always agree, something's wrong. But we can always be kind. And I will just assure you that when it comes to my character, I will bat for it 100% of the time. And I just look forward to seeing better numbers in this topic with Minerva Park in the future.
And Nikki, I want to say something else. Definitely, I think we should be kind to each other. We should always respect our residents, but also I think we should be honest. And I hope the
100%.
residents can accept that too, honest with each other, honest when we don't know something. We are also human, and if we don't know something, give us a little bit of grace, but we will get back to you and we will give you the right answer. And I think that's a pledge that we all should make to each other and to our residents, that if we don't know something, say you don't know, instead of saying something ridiculous, and then get back to that person. That's all I ask.
Thank you. That's it.
Finance, that's you,
I
Brian.
was just waiting for the mayor, because he
Yeah,
normally pushes it around.
Yeah,
so-
I'm pushing everybody around. I'm trying to make sure I'm in order too. Awesome, okay. So, just after this meeting, if we want to get a couple more of these scheduled, just, you might not be ready for it, but just anybody, as soon as we get done with these, we'll talk about that after the meeting. So let's move over to Brian, Council President Wolf for Finance.
Finance Committee has our next meeting scheduled for next week. Just trying to remember which day, I believe it was the Tuesday?
Yes,
Tuesday the 15th, it is,
6-ish. Is it 6? 6 PM, and it is via Zoom.
okay, there you go. It's not on the village digital calendar yet, which is why I'm not seeing it on my calendar. But there it is, we
I'm sure it will
are,
be in 5 minutes.
I'm sure, we are continuing to investigate finance options for future projects. We are targeting financing against future revenues from the TIF to finance for the remodel of this building, as well as lake dredging and potential other infrastructure projects. There you go.
Awesome. Okay, any questions? Anybody? I don't think I asked that for you, but anybody have any questions? Okay, no questions. All right, let's move over to Councilperson Cost Streets.
Okay, so I kind of gave my report last time, and Mike Flickinger's report kind of basically gave all the same information, but I'm just gonna repeat it just for anybody that, we basically talked about the sewer project, projected to start March 15th. They were there today, I saw them, they were in my yard, they were all over the place, I think they marked where they were going. And then, I think next week they're gonna start with the trees, so we just kind of talked about that. At this point, this is like dated information. Storm project, they're still kind of assessing that area, working with the city of Columbus. The only other thing I can add to is the street evaluation. So we're still kind of working on that. We're passing those resolutions, so somebody can come out and look at our pavement, look at the curbs too. I've gotten emails about that too. So it is in the works. We're hoping to get this started as soon as we can to assess the curbs and the streets and kind of go from there. And once we have that information, we can go about trying to fix it. But you can't really fix something unless you know the full extent of the damage that you have. That's all I got. That's it. Thank you.
All right, let's move over to Councilperson Camera for Community.
Okay, so we had our first meeting tonight, right before this meeting. We have agreed on prices for the pool season, so we'll be presenting those to council pretty soon. We have talked about adding 2 new types of memberships for this coming year, which will all be presented, as well as some other options for rentals of the space. We are looking into a pool management software to track our members, track occupancy, ages, things like that, that we'll be presenting. We're also looking at doing concession sales ourselves, maybe in addition to the vending machines, if it's only certain times of day, but just to try to increase some revenue there. We have talked about the pool slide, and we'll make recommendations for that to council as well. That's pretty much it.
Just my only
Yes.
comment is, I was part of that meeting just a little bit ago, but if you could write down, or you may already have them, forward me the actual pool fees that I'm expecting, and they can still be adjusted, but for first reading, and we will work on getting the legislation for that for the next
You should have that.
councilman. I probably already do. Okay. Let's move, anybody have any questions about the pool or anything? Okay. Let's move over to Councilperson McNamara for safety.
All right, so as I discussed in the last, meeting, we had our safety meeting and everything is, summarized, going well. There have been no major changes I've been made aware of since then. I noticed that the, calls for service compared to last year went up about 50 or 30 or so. Yeah, from 327 to 378, it's about 51. Was there anything, any major remarkable thing worth mentioning in that jump, or you think it's just the things getting back to more of a sense of normalcy?
It's a difficult question to answer.
Okay.
I think that there's just human activity and
Very good.
unless there was some giant spike where we were at 500-600 calls for service, you're gonna have variations like that.
Yeah, my first year of safety, that's within normal variation then.
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect, in that case, I've been made aware, in that case, I've been made aware of no major issues or changes.
All right, any questions? All right, let's move over to Councilperson Bruger for legislation.
All right, our next legislative meeting should be the 24th at 6:30. However, I didn't see it on the calendar yet. The only sort of, I don't want to say meaningful legislation, because we have a lot of stuff that are bookkeeping that are very important, but novel legislation we're working on is still the sign ordinance, and I still haven't heard about the outcome of flags and how we can classify them.
No, Jesse's sick, and so.
Yeah, so that's, yeah.
We'll have something for you before that.
Well, yeah, well, I'm sure, I'm just saying from my report, I haven't heard about it. You guys out there, everybody's sick, I'm not saying it's a drum bubbler, I'm just saying, I can't report on that. And that would, assuming that the council meeting on the 24th would be here and in person, that would be here and in person. If for some reason, council meeting would get switched to virtual, I would expect that to be switched to virtual as well.
Exactly.
Cool. And that's it, so I will go on to ordinances.
As of now.
Oh, no, wait, no, I
No,
won't,
it's been passed.
because there's a whole bunch of things between me.
Yes, there's a
Go
lot.
ahead, Mayor's report.
All right. So, I don't have a huge report. We've been working on the structure over some additional quotes and some different options for over by the basketball court. We've been working on quite a few things over here. The community building, we've had some meetings for the bid process. There was a meeting here today and a couple contractors showed up and it was absolutely wonderful to see people show up. Obviously working on financial, with the new building, with the finance committee and with our legal team. So we have all kinds of stuff going on. But the biggest thing I want to say is thank you to all the council people that have gotten in here and just really started off running with all the different committees and all the new ideas. Just listening to Jason with the pool today, not that I missed yours, so, but you have some great ideas too. I don't want to totally point him out, but I was super excited when he brought all this cool stuff. I was like, holy crap. So anyways, and I really just said that on live meeting, but anyways, super excited. So just, it's no bash on anything, but I think when you have new people in here, and it was kind of like us 4 years ago, you come in here super excited, and I just hope it stays that way for the next 4 years. So there's so much stuff that we can do with all the different things as far as, late cleanups, and I did forward you an email about that earlier today. So just with all the new communication options, the text blasts and the email blasts, and lots of things that have been brought on board over the last couple of years, I just think there's a lot more options that we can get even more people involved. So it's just been great watching all of the meetings and keep going. So I just want to say thank you to everybody for that. And then that is my report. So let's move over to, Tony is here, citizen comments.
Citizens' comments.
There we go. You're the only one here, so you get to go first.
This is now the opportunity for anyone in attendance, please give us your name, your address, and you have 5 minutes. I have a timer going.
He does.
If you guys would all take a look at the handout that I gave everybody, I'm going to kind of go over this. I'd like to start off talking about the fence appeal that, fortunately, Jason, you get a pass on this because you weren't here, but I have to tell you that it was, and I understand you guys are new to this, but you guys really blew it. And the thing that was probably the most shocking thing that was said at the first meeting of the month, when the law director was talking about the appeal, he said that it wasn't his role to provide legal explanations regarding the appeal, that his role was to make sure that everybody was under oath. Well, you know, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard come out of a law director's mouth, to say that it's not his job to give legal explanations to a council that half of you guys are new and only been at it at the time 2 weeks. So I'm going to go over the codes that weren't provided in the packet that you were given. No, these are the codes that weren't. I got the packet, and these codes that I'm showing you were not provided. 127202 is the lotteries. This is the first part of the code that talks about driveways. And it says here, except where such driveways are developed, or it says driveways shall be permitted in required yards, but shall be 3 feet or more from any property line, except where such driveways are developed jointly as a common drive to adjoining lots. Now, this is the part of our code that describes common driveways. If you go to the next page, you will see that it's another part of the code that describes driveways. And it also refers to driveways and refers to a common drive is provided for 2 adjoining lots in C. Then in D, it talks about the minimum width of the driveway. None of this information was presented to council. I got the, unless you got a different packet than I was given, this wasn't presented. I sent, if you go to the next page, you'll see that I sent an email to council in July that said that we have a problem here, guys, that, you know, the code says that driveways need to be 10 feet wide. Now, I could not get, and you'll see that no one responded to this email. The mayor didn't respond to it. None of the members of council responded to this email. This was back when I was on council. Now, this, this should have been made aware to the law director. And for him to, for the mayor, I don't know whether she passed this on to him or if everybody just decided that Tony doesn't know what he's talking about and we're not going to discuss this, because we weren't able to talk about this with council because there was pending litigation. So there was no discussion. The law director would not comment about the validity of these codes. So, you know what, you guys really need to take a second look at this, because again, you're new to this and you made a mistake, because these codes do apply. And I would like to hear Jesse opine on why these don't matter. Now, if you turn to the next page, you will see that this is a copy of postcards that were sent out to the neighbors around the house with the fence. You will notice there that it says that the meeting is open. Now, for some reason, the day of the meeting, we were told we're not allowed to go because of COVID issues. Well, then the resident wanted to know why this wasn't posted on Facebook. Like I was told when I came up here and tried to get in, that you're not allowed in. And I said, well, are you guys posting this or live streaming it? And the police officer said, yeah, we're live streaming it. So I left. And Then, the following day or the next week, the resident said, why isn't this being posted? And the mayor's reply was, this isn't a public meeting. Take a look at the emails that you all received. You know, this was a public meeting. Every appeal hearing that's been conducted here in the village, I was in one of them. It was a public meeting. The only other appeal meeting in the 14 years that I've been here that ever took place was for me and a police
Mr.
officer.
Benedetti, your time has elapsed. Thank you.
I have a brief question.
I mean, you certainly can.
It's open to questions from the council, of course.
Does anyone, again, I wasn't present for this, how many years ago this was, I don't know, but was anyone here present? Is there truth to it, the last time this was done, that it was held in a more open manner?
Well, I can answer a couple things. Number one, it's not been live streamed before. We had one back in August for a different hearing, and they have not been live streamed. I'll apologize for the attorney, or for the officer saying that it was being live streamed. They just assumed it was a council meeting. They didn't know why they were in here, just as an FYI. So as far as that goes, all I can tell you is I was told that it was discussed between all three attorneys, was my understanding. And the three attorneys also agreed with COVID cases that I was not here for that, but it was my understanding that that was discussed between the three attorneys and they were all aware.
They agreed to a closed hearing.
They agreed to it. So it wasn't anything that I specifically did, Eric specifically did, Jesse specifically did. It was a conversation to have. And honestly, I'm not gonna go any further into this. Jesse has responded via email to these exact same allegations and questions. This has already been resolved via council. I can totally, I appreciate the fact that you think that your council was wrong. I believe that the council did exactly, they were given this information, and they did exactly what they believed after three attorneys discussed things. They decided the outcome based on what happened in that particular meeting. So to come in here and tell your council that they made a mistake is not fair, and I'm done. That's it.
I think he's welcome to his opinion.
He is welcome to his
Whatever it may
opinion.
be. So, thank you for your opinion. I think the two things that we should wrap this up with is that, one, the village attorney will be drafting formal findings of council regarding that appeal. You are welcome to them when they are drafted, right? And the other one is that if any of the parties involved, which aren't even here, feel that they are aggrieved by the outcomes of the appeal, they have an appeal process to that as well. They are welcome to avail themselves to it.
That's my issue, is like, your answer to everything is, we'll see you in court. Those people are gonna have to spend $10,000.
That's fine.
To take, right, that's fine with you, because you don't have to pay for it, right? This isn't the only way this has to end.
Here, the only thing that I can say in speaking broadly about this, and the Part B of 1272.02, where it says driveways shall be permitted in required yards which shall be 3 feet or more from any property line, except where such driveways are developed jointly as a common drive to adjoining lots. Unfortunately, the way that this code is written right now, there is no clear definition for what a shared driveway is. And I can tell you one thing is that we can work on that and change the code, but the way that it is written, there's not much else that can define what a shared driveway is. And as much as I want this outcome to be different, I can't go back in time and change the code. And I know you don't agree with that, but that's all I can do.
Well, you have to understand, if I could just get one second to say, is that the reason that it's a common driveway is because it was planned that way, and because of the 10-foot requirement, it needs, could you let me finish one thing before you shut me down? Both of those people need to be able to use their neighbor's driveway to get in and out. That's why it's a common driveway, because it requires, well, I'm not sure who's told you that I'm wrong, but this is the issue, and that's why if you look at the second code, driveways and access drives.
Okay.
Mr. Benedetti,
Yeah, we're
your
not
time
gonna
has
go further.
definitely elapsed.
This has already been resolved
When are you guys gonna have a coffee with council?
Yeah, this
The
is,
Because we'll be
community
talking about it.
committee is
I would
working
love
on
that.
it. Or communications committee is working on it.
We were talking about bringing our families, so just saying.
Family friendly, family friendly.
Yeah, let's do
Family
it.
friendly.
Rude or?
No, again, you are totally entitled to your opinion, but I think, again, this is something that we're already past at this point. They do have options, if they choose to do those options. They have the option to move forward in trying to fix some of the code, and I think that's where we're all at right now. I don't think fixing the code honestly would have changed the outcome of this whatsoever. There are a lot of driveways that are only 8 feet, it is what it is. We're past this, and I
No,
think
you're
that's.
not.
Okay, well, we are, as this right now.
I'm bringing it up until we get.
That's fine, but
Okay,
they
so we're
voted
not
and it's
past
done.
it. So we're
You
not
can
past
bring, yeah, but you can bring anything you want up for the rest. So
Well,
let's move on to legislation.
Again, you guys are all new to this.
Okay,
but you
and
know,
that-
Legislation.
Legislation.
Doesn't mean I'm new to the
So,
world.
we're looking at our first ordinance for tonight, ordinance 2, 2022, an ordinance to make supplemental appropriations for the current expenses of the village of Minerva Park for the year 2022, and looking down, it says Mayor's Court Computer A Fund, with increase of $550. Did our computer break, Mayor?
Oh, it was an old printer from 2007, and it could no longer
So our
take
printer
Windows updates, and it finally died.
Got
So-
you. And,
Just
15 years, that's a good
yeah, that's a 14-year run on a
I know,
printer.
he was a trooper.
So, administration is asking that we waive the second and third reading since they apparently don't have a working printer right now.
Don't make fun of us.
It's an appropriation, so we don't need to pass as an emergency. So I'm gonna move, that we waive the second and third reading of this, ordinance.
Second.
Moved and second. Anyone want to discuss? All right, we're ready for a vote.
All right, Councilperson McNamara.
Aye.
Councilperson Bruger.
Aye.
Councilperson Koss.
Aye.
Councilperson Camera.
Aye.
Councilperson Shrestha.
Aye.
And Council President Wolf.
Aye.
All right, enjoy your new printer.
But then we have to pass.
Oh, well, that's right, thank you. All we did was waive readings. Having waived the second and third readings, the suspense is killing me. I move that we pass this.
Second.
Okay. Councilperson Bruger.
Aye.
Councilperson McNamara.
I could like that printer. Aye.
Council President Wolf.
Aye.
Councilperson Shrestha.
Aye.
And Councilperson Camera.
Aye.
Councilperson Koss.
Aye.
You get a new printer. That's the only reason she came tonight. No, I'm kidding. Totally kidding.
Do we get to name it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Printosaurus Rex.
I love it.
All right, now we're on to Resolution 2022-02, a resolution authorizing and approving the execution of a contract with Resource International, Inc. for the 2022 pavement condition assessment at a price not to exceed $12,000. This is a second reading. This was mentioned last time we read it, and of course was mentioned some in the streets report tonight. This is to have them go around, evaluate the condition of our various pavement, road surfaces in the village, and make recommendations as to repairs. And that has been read twice now. Anyone have anything? Nothing. So, all right, moving on. Resolution 2022-05. A resolution authorizing the mayor to enter an agreement with Frost Brown Todd for review and revisions to the Village of Minerva Park zoning code. This is our first reading of it. I believe we've talked about this in council before, haven't we?
Talk about
So,
this
or
is a work
just-
session.
That ain't just a work
That's what
session.
we're talking about, yes.
So what this would do is we would hire Frost Brown Todd. Currently, we have not to exceed 35,000. I've been told that's a little bit of a high estimate, that 20 or so probably will do it. They would go through our code and look for obvious contradictions and things that are no longer legally allowed to be in codes and things that don't apply to us.
I think a fair way to say it is a wholesale rewrite of that code to modernize it, remove vagaries like what is a common driveway, all of that, so that we have, instead of a 1998 code, we have a 2022
I think
code.
it was 89, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, that's what I meant to say, my dyslexia.
Yeah,
Yeah, we would change our zoning code to match the different sections that are lots, you know, we would make everything conform again, essentially. 'cause
The code was first written in 1940, and there was many different
Okay.
changes. And some of it is 1940 language. Well, she's sitting there shaking her head. Sorry,
Benedetti, please keep the outburst down.
sorry.
Okay. Thank you for legislation. So those have all been read, one's been passed, and we will, have plenty more in the next couple weeks. Okay, old business. Anybody with any old business? Anybody with any new business? That's all you, Brian.
What? Oh, move to adjourn. Second. All right, all in
All
favor?
in favor?
Tony,
Jason.
I'll tell you one thing.
Where's your second?
So where this
Remember the
is,
big thing where
right,
everybody's like.
is that there's no evidence
Throw our flags
that the
out.
driveways were developed jointly,
Talk to you, and I really
right?